We're very happy to see you here on this traditional meeting of the Caspian International Integration Club, based under the aegis of Kazan Forum, Islamic Forum, which is connected with the cooperation between Russia and Islamic countries and the Islamic world. And our club has been working in this area for a long time, and we are one of the initiators of sitting and working on very important issues. We also work with increasing the competitiveness of the International Transportation Club North-South. We have already been invited a lot of other interested parties into this club, and this morning we had a session headed by Deputy Chairman of the Government of the Russian Federation, Mr. Husnulin. We had very representative bunch of people there, and we were discussing the burning issues of this corridor. And we are helping the government of Russian Federation. We are helping business community. We help them to develop this transportation corridor north-south. This is a historical corridor. This is a historical logistical trade route which has been helping a lot of peoples to develop, beginning from Roman Empire, Byzantine, Arabia, India, even before Common Era. We had so-called Caspian route, which was developing on the third, fourth millennium before a Common Era, and it was called Volga-Caspian Way or Volga-Caspian route, and it was a crossroads of this. And there was a Derbent city, which was the hub for this kind of route. And this Derbent city now is in territory of the Russian Federation. We were discussing a lot of important things in our club, and from 2016 we have been very active discussing these things, and we were talking about customs, we were talking about, or we have been discussing different forms of financial cooperation. We have been talking about developing unified paperwork system. We discussed the issues of general operator or one operator for all these routes. We worked a lot with the government of Russian Federation, Iran, and India, but we haven't solved a lot of issues yet. So that is why it's very good that the government of Russian Federation is directly involved into the work connected with this route, and I believe that in cooperation with other interested countries, we can iron out many issues which are preventing normal work of this project. And we see that the importance of this transportation corridor is growing. And when we were meeting with the Chinese representatives several days ago, Putin again mentioned the importance of the development of this corridor. north-south. And I have to say that in many meetings, international meetings, Putin mentions the importance of the transportation corridor. So that is why we have people here who have been working in this area for a long time, and I would like to introduce our Director General for our club, who has Dmitry, who is doing a lot for development of this club and his efforts. He helped to open several branch offices in India and Iran, and we continue this work. He will tell you more about it himself. And let me introduce to you Kazem Jalali, plenipotentiary ambassador from Islamic Republic of Iran, and he's always with us. Gina Week, Deputy Head of the Diplomatic Mission of the Republic of India in Russian Federation. Our Indian friends are doing a lot in helping our club to develop. George Muradov, one of the members of our government, Deputy Chairman of Crimea Republic. He is a representative in the President's office. Marina Alexeyevna, First Deputy of the Head of the Government of Ulyanovsk District. Well, they like to include beautiful women in their government. So this is our colleague responsible for the energy infrastructure in Astrakhansky district. They are very important partners of us. So we recently organized a forum in this area with the participation of the governor, and we continue working with them. Sergei Mayorov, Chairman of the Industrial Cluster of Tatarstan. Tatarstan initiates a lot of projects in this area. Artyom Daushev, Assistant for the Head of the Federal Service of Phytosanitary Oversight. He has been our partner for many years, has been working a lot with our club and our representatives in Iran and other countries. Konstantin Kutsenko, representative of Russia in Kyrgyzstan. He's head of the Business Eurasia Committee. Emil Karimov, he represents the sister company of one of their businesses, Bahram Seri, Director General of Eurasia, North-South. Alevtina Kirillova, who is supposed to be here. So that let me just give floor to Dmitry Dubovik, so he will, who is well aware of the problems which we are discussing. He knows people and problems. So that is why the floor is yours, Dmitry. Well, thank you very much. And I would like to give floor to Vice President of the Tehran Chamber of Commerce. He will be instead of the ambassador, instead of Mr. Kazimi. And I hope it will be a very interesting presentation, because today Tehran and India, they are our key partners, which define the strategy of North-South project. So on these countries, we have a lot of transportation hubs, and the main task which was set by our president, so we have to increase the cargo turnover from 12 to 30 million tons. So today we would like to listen to the presentation of our colleague.
Okay. Okay.
Hello, welcoming all participants of the panel discussion. As well as all those present and those interested in this very important topic of North-South Corridor. As you all know, over the course of previous years, the North-South Corridor, due to its importance in the development of both relations as well as economies of the countries of the region, to the north of the Caspian Sea, as well as countries located centrally, speaking about Asia, as well as those down south, such as India. Keeping in mind that this route is very short, it is linking these countries with the West, this corridor can play an important role. Islamic Republic of Iran, as well as the leadership of the country, are prioritizing the implementation of this corridor as soon as possible. A lot has been done over the course of the last 2 years. As you all are well aware, Russia is also paying great attention to this corridor, and the President himself is underlining the importance of linking all these segments of the corridor as soon as possible. It seems to me that if all economic agents working in both Iran and Russia would start paying attention to the importance of the project and would understand its importance, and then this will be a demand for a clear message to them from their officials to prepare necessary infrastructure, whilst us, the Trade Industry Chamber of Tehran. And important to note that about 40% of GDP of Iran is related to Tehran. That is actually part of our need, our demand for the connection north-south. During working meetings in the framework of the Trade Industry Chamber of ours, we have respective commissions on infrastructure, as well as commissions with the participation of Committee on Transportation, and I'm part of that. And that is diversity of questions related to erecting this corridor, building the missing components for this corridor to start working. And we are doing all the negotiations with participation of all interested parties. And since I have joined the totality of participants with a little delay, I was unfortunately not capable of hearing the speakers that spoke before before. Thus, I would request Mr. Moderator to direct the discussion into the proper direction if there is some proposal or comments, so that I would be of greater value to all those present here. I would like to know that Russia has about $300 billion of imports, and the amount of Iranian trade is about $320 billion. So that would clearly meet the needs of the countries. We have looked at the totality of infrastructure in our country related to diversity of industries, including food production, and keeping in mind this important event taking part in Tatarstan, I would like to state that a lot of agricultural products are being produced in Tatarstan, about 40 million tons of agricultural products, plus some 60 billion tons of potential to increase it further. And if this corridor would be established, we could easily assure using the available capacity. And let me just quote an example of flour that we are producing. You might be aware of Buller Company, one of the important flour producers in the region. All businesses working on the market are aware of this company, and we are having quite an important potential of flour production. Something that we can provide to the country located to the north of us, the Russian Federation, but once again it's corridor dependent. Another segment would be vegetable oils. About 3.5 million tons of vegetable oils are being produced in the country. Sunflower seed oil for refining, for purification of oil, which we can process and raw. This 3 million tons, that potential can also be used. But frankly, at the moment, only 1.5 million tons are being used. And the same thing is true related to other industries, which is related to different industries of industry and the economy overall of the countries. North-South corridor will help us to bridge respective industries in our countries to assure the needs also of other countries located nearby. This is just an example that I'm quoting here. In pasta production, we have about 2.5 million tons, the potential of production of this specific product. And in our country, we are producing about 800,000 of various pastas. And once again, there is already a possibility to be shipping part of those products through the corridor, including various powders, various cosmetics, and we have plenty of unused resources that you can use to support each other. The countries whose representatives are present here, each country has respective potential. So talking about raw materials provision, speaking about processing, speaking about marketing and market development, North-South corridor would allow to lower logistics costs, and that would be attractive for productive industries. Thus, all the countries could use single tariffs for transportation with the total overall pricing for cost for consumer much lower. The corridor is bringing the participants to the open international seaways. Thus, its attractiveness is certainly higher. In this way, participants can contribute together into the overall matrix of economic development, helping to increase their share in the respective parts of the global economy. Thank you very much for the opportunity given to me to represent my country in this important panel discussion. I hope I was capable of sharing information that I have access to, and may I hope that this very session, as well as the forum overall, will help in improving the use of the existing potential of the countries and would best affect the economic development of respective countries. Thank you very much. I would be able to add maybe a few words to the presentation. The colleague, I'd like to state that one of the dimensions of the club towards Iran is we are looking at various types of fertilizers, potassium, kalium, and we have a working group, and we are shipping those through Bandar Abbas. We have reached necessary agreements with Turkmenia, Kazakhstan, all transit traffic, and all of those fertilizers are going to India. And in the course of the previous year, we have seen how this works, and we have found cargo for the reverse, something that is necessary for Russia. That's various concentrates, various metallurgical products, and that's important to know that Iran is nowadays in top 10 steel production globally. So it's a very important achievement. So we are having through a single tariffs with, and it's important that for Russia the potassium resources are very important. Iran offered very great opportunities for shipping of potassium through Bandar Abbas, and this is being done in Iran as Iran Cell, the largest seller in Iran, a company that is taking position number 12 in the global rating. In this sense, we are nowadays starting having interesting position that our cargo, be it potassium-rich fertilizers, be it coals, can be shipped through this corridor. We are now preparing a first experiment next month. Coals to be provided from Kemerovo to Bandar Abbas, and then Magnitka and Kuznetsky metallurgy plant will be receiving the respective iron-rich products. Thank you very much. That's confirmed Prado. I would like to pass the word to our colleagues from India. Indeed, these another super strategic partners of ours, and the main challenge of 2023 that we managed to address and launch is the construction of ships for the needs of Caspian Sea at state shipyards of India, in particular Goa state-owned shipyard that has confirmed the readiness to do RZD-59 class ships that are being used at the Caspian Sea. And here I would like to give the floor to Ms. Genoika, Deputy Head of the Mission of the Republic of India in the Russian Federation. Ms. Genoika.
Colleagues and friends, let me on behalf of the Ambassador of India and the Embassy of India extend my greetings to all of you here and thank the organizers for having us and our delegation in this wonderful city of Kazan. There has been a a widespread realization for the need of more resilient and reliable supply chains and logistics now during the post-COVID era more than ever. But the International North-South Corridor, India has been partnering with several other countries since 2002. We have a renewed focus now post-COVID. We have nominated two coordinators from our side, along with the Russian government as well. We have our Deputy National Security Advisor designated as the Indian coordinator for the INSTC, and from the Russian side we have Mr. Igor Levitin identified as the nodal the coordinator. So we see a renewed interest, a renewed focus in bilateral collaboration between India and Russia as far as the INSTC is concerned. And also, we are happy to collaborate in the multilateral setup as well. We believe that the corridor, when viewed with its underlying commercial advantages, can bring about a transformative development in the whole region, facilitating not just transit, but humanitarian assistance, as well as overall economic development. Member nations can not only develop themselves as logistics and transit hubs, but also focus on developing themselves as manufacturing hubs. Some movement of cargo is already happening. We had the speakers before me referring to all the developments which have been taking place, but we see several issues which have been impeding the processes, notably infrastructural requirements, the missing links, the difficulties in the identification of container lines, the problems with banks and insurance companies, customs-related issues, and documentation-related issues. These we see are major impediments which are functional in nature, other than the overall structural organization of the administrative setups and the coordinating mechanisms as well. We look forward now for the commencement of the Coordination Council meeting, which we believe would give us further direction, the further focus on how to go about in the implementation of the INSTC. We have also proposed the inclusion of the Chabahar port in the route, and that is another aspect that we look forward to taking forward. We would be happy to listen to any of your suggestions and comments. If there are any issues that you want to raise with us, I am here along with the First Secretary in the Embassy of India who deals with this. We have a couple of other officers as well. So if there is anything that you would like to tell us, if there is any feedback that you would like to have from us, we would be happy to interact with you as well. So the summary that I would like to make is that we probably have not achieved all that we would have liked to achieve, but we look forward, we continue to engage with all our partners in pursuit of a stable, a more a viable corridor, which would be in the benefit of all of us. We stand ready to cooperate, plan, invest, and build as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam, for this presentation. That's speaking to us about the fact that India is not fully understood by us in its power, in its global weight, and its opportunities, and we have to be working on this on a day-to-day basis. We understand we've got some successes. One of the most important platforms for the types of products that we can be supplying is, of course, such an important player here is India. Moving forward, I would like to give floor to Mr. Georgy Muradov, Deputy Chairman of the Council of Ministers of the Republic of Crimea, permanent representative of the Republic of Crimea to the President of the Russian Federation. Thank you very much, Dmitry Borisovich. I would like to thank both you, Dmitry Borisovich and Ramazan Muradovich, thanking you sincerely for establishing such an important structure, which I believe will be working for many decades to come, the Caspian International Integration Club. And I'd like to use this opportunity to state that the Republic of Crimea, as well as territories located along the Azov and Black Sea region seas, are also very much interested in the development of this very important corridor. And since Ramazan Muradovich started speaking about history, Caspian lands, this is the territory that was known as Tavrida and the Kingdom of Bosporus. That territory where we are was keeping links with the Caspian region and the very Derbent for over 2,500 years ago. In that sense, God Himself, Allah Himself, basically telling us one way or the other that we need to reestablish this relationship, just a new environment. And since Ramazan Muradovich has introduced me as a person doing politics, let me say a few words about politics.
So there are a lot of changes in the modern world right now, and we see that new centers are being formed. The world is becoming polycentric, and all these hubs and centers have to start new relationship, and you cannot develop without transportation. You cannot develop polycentric relationship. If you look at, Russia is looking to the south, so of course we're talking about Arabic world, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, they are now in BRICS, and India, the member of BRICS, Iran, and Iran joined BRICS as well. Let's call it coalition. So, and we all have to build up relationship, and our Western partners, I mean Europe, so they cut themselves off they have cut themselves from the resources from Russia. We don't know how they're going to survive without Russia's resources. So we have to now base our relationship on South and in South. And Russia has huge resource potential, biggest in the world. It's more than 30% of the world resources are in Russia. So, of course, our historical partners have all possibilities to use this situation. And, of course, we are interested in building up such routes as railway, roads, and we hope that it will happen very quickly. We already have good highways, and for example, for us from Dagestan, Makhachkala, Kaspiysk, of course we would like to have a direct railroad, and we don't have it now. And of course, we would like to have the railroad to Russia and southern part of Russia as well, such as Kuban, Novorossiya, and others which are on the south. So each corridor has branches, and we are the Western branches. And I visited Iran 3 weeks ago, and I can congratulate our Iranian friends with their successes which they achieved, thanks to situation they are in. And these sanctions, for example, such countries like Iran and Russia, they develop using their own resources. I saw that Iran has everything. I was in Iran Expo, and I can say that yes, sanctions are harmful, but they're harmful for those who impose sanctions. So this is the instrument which is, of course, impacts on those who try to use sanctions without understanding that sanctions, first of all, harmed countries which impose the sanctions. Yes, we discussed sanctions on one of the sessions here, and they create some inconveniences in transportation, in logistics, in money transactions, in insurance. Politically, if you look at this problem, you can see that there are a lot of ways how to fight sanctions. And we are the majority, apart from United States and Europe. We have to consolidate and just ignore these sanctions. We will develop our cooperation, and we will achieve more and more success. It's the only way. If we are divided, if we will act separately, we will have no success. It will not be good. Then I would like to underline that Iran is a very interesting partner for Crimea and for other subjects of Russian Federation, other subjects which are along the seashore of the black market. I saw a vegetable market in Iran. Carrots, cabbage, potatoes. The price is very, very cheap, and our prices for vegetables are much, much higher. And so Iran has a lot of fresh agricultural products, fruit and vegetables. And we can easily import these vegetables from Iran. Why I'm telling you these things? So these are things for people, for everyday's life. It is we can supply people with very, very good vegetables, and so that is why we have to develop these routes. We have to make them work, and they must work not because the government said so, but because this is something which people need to live better. And this is our priority: social, economic welfare, well-being of people. And I also would like to mention that we were told about the traffic jams on different routes. And he said that in our transportation corridors, sometimes we have traffic jams. Well, I have to say that in Crimea corridor, we don't have any traffic jams. We have seaports, and you can use our ports for the transportation, because it goes to Latin America, it goes to West Africa, it goes to Mediterranean Sea. It's the closest area. So that is why I have a proposal. Let's unite these two corridors, and let's consider it the highway of development of our relationship with the new world centers. Thank you. Thank you. Georgi is a very experienced man who has been working on different levels of our government. And he has been working very successfully. And I really would like you to talk to the director of our club and prepare next year, prepare a special session on Kazan Forum in connection with BRICS, because Russia is the chair country of this BRICS, and in October Kazan will be hosting BRICS conference, and a lot of people talked about it. So we have to organize, when we finish our work, we have to organize the working group to prepare a special session for the next year with connected with the interest of the BRICS. Thank you very much. I understood. So we continue later. We continue further. And the floor is given to Marina Alexeyevna, First Deputy Government of Ulyansky District. Thank you very much. Dear Ramazan, dear friends, yes, I have to agree with you, with the words of Georgi, that sanctions allowed Russian regions to to reestimate their resources and make decision where to go. And if we're talking about the Ulyansky district, we are situated on the banks of the river Volga, and the economic potential of Volga River is hugely underestimated. And the situation in which we are now, it allowed us and our neighbors who live next to us to look totally differently at what we can do in terms of economic development using the Volga resources. Of course, we are not alone there. We do it together with our big brother, Tatarstan. I'm joining all of you who organized this wonderful forum on a very high level. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And of course, not only Tatarstan joined us, but some other districts as well. We are very much interested in using our very, very good geographical location. And one of the most important projects for us is the trade logistics canal, Volga-Caspy, Persian Gulf, and we hope that this route would allow us to increase the traffic, cargo traffic with our friendly countries in this area and western or eastern area. What we've done already, I would like to share it with you. So we have conducted a number of negotiations with Russian and foreign and trade representatives, and among them a Russian-Turkistan Union. Turkmen. This is Eurasia Shipping, which provides the shipping delivery from Anzali, Iran, and it's VTS, our Astrakhan partners. It's Astrakhansky port operator, which provides transit shipping. Payam airport in Iran, which is used for export-import cargo, with participation of Russian company Volga-Dnieper and federal company Cosmos. And of course, this is RZD Logistic, and we've been working with them for delivery goods to Nchiburu, Salah, and to Iranian port Berdel-Abbas. I have to say, such an Iranian company, maritime company as Eresil, we work with Kazvin province very closely. We have reached agreement to open trade hub in the free economic zone of this province, and of course the railway transformation also adds railroad company with which RZD Logistics work. And I would like to say separately about our work with our Azerbaijan colleagues with such companies as TES Logistic, AGT Cargo, and which help us with the shipping a lot of goods. And we of course work very closely with Azerbaijan highways, and we also help them to organize railroad trains and railroad cars with different cargo. So we achieved already preliminary agreement about such kind of route. We negotiated with the Turkmen railroads, and we talked about the most favorable conditions, storage, logistics partners along the eastern railway corridor. And it's something which we have been working for a long time. We tested these railway corridors and sea shipping corridors up to Iran. But the most difficult piece of this puzzle, of course, it's the way back shipping in reverse direction. So we know that the balance is something like the 20% export and 80% import. So it's very unbalanced situation, but we still continue working on this. So the first pool of goods we already collected, and we agreed about such raw materials as iron ore, marble, vegetables, cement. So we do have some conclusions, and using this forum today, I would like to thank Russian Export-Import Center, some other transportation company, the Russian Railroads Company, because they helped us a lot. And let me come back to our partners. We have agreements to develop this transportation corridor with Tatarstan, Chuvashia, Penza district, and we think that very soon Udmurtia will join us, and Kirovskaya Oblast as well. So we all know that in our country, in Russia, we have national projects, and we have national project of national cooperation and export. It will be prolonged until 2030, and I'm sure that we will do a lot of make a lot of projects there, and we will modernize our seaport infrastructure, because in Russia it is not very well developed. And our colleagues and I, we have some initiatives which I would like to put forward. We will discuss them with our Vice Prime Minister, and I would like to name them here. These initiatives definitely can help us develop this cargo turnover. We would like to have the consolidate the work of different ministers responsible for the infrastructure. For example, we would like to have government support, government legal support in developing these corridors, and so without subsidies, without financial help, we cannot do these things. Then information support. We would like to have a database about importers, and exporters of all goods in this area. Dear colleagues, it was just a general overview of the work which we have been doing together with our partners in Russia and outside Russia. And we have to do a lot in the future. And of course, I would like to thank all our partners involved in this work about transportation corridor. I'm sure we can do this job, and I'm sure that we can be very successful in this area. Well, Maria, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your presentation. And the floor is given to Ilya Valinsky, Minister of Industry and Trade of Astrakhanskaya area. Astrakhanskaya area is a strategic partner of the club and is one of the most dynamic partners with which we work in this area, because Astrakhan has seaports, and it's very important. And I'm sure that this presentation will be very interesting and very important.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Ramazan Gadjimuratovich, may you please have your microphone closer? Yes, thank you. Dear Ramazan Gadjimuratovich, dear Dmitry Marisovich, thank you very much for the chance to be taking part today in this session. Just at the end of last year, we had quite a strong, quite a powerful forum dedicated to North-South corridor, and today we are seeing that the cargo shipments are growing by a factor of not just towards Iran, but transit is also growing. The reason for which the corridor was also being established for. And I would dwell more on this topic. Within the dynamically changing geopolitical conditions, North-South transportation corridor starts playing greater and greater role. And Astrakhan Oblast is a key segment of the corridor on the territory of the Russian Federation, because it is serving on one side as a gate towards into the Russian Federation on the Caspian Sea. The development of transportation and logistics infrastructure of Astrakhan Oblast is one of the priority projects today, being implemented not only at the regional but also at the federal level. We've got two seaports, Astrakhan Seaport and Ala Seaport, 16 million tons of cargo a year. They are working year-round and are open for international ships under foreign flags, and they have all necessary infrastructure. I have mentioned that our cargo shipments are growing as a result of 2023. We had over 4.5 million tons of cargo. The growth rate was has been growing. The turnover at the Caspian Basin has grown by almost 30%. Positive trends also this year through the 3 months of 2024, and Ola 1.5 million tons of cargo, plus 80% year on year to last year. So we are seeing that the corridor is now working. The amount of shipments are increasing as well. An important amount of work on modernization of respective shipping terminals, total 15 of them, is being done by our ports. The largest seaport in Astrakhan is Russia-Iran port. This is a joint stock company, Astrakhan Port. Iranian colleagues are the main owners of the stock of that port. They also bought 2 cargo ships. They have registered them in Astrakhan and are now building a 3rd ship at Astrakhan shipyard, which means that it's not just the hub itself is developing, but also the fleet to carry the cargo is growing and renewing. Key element in the Russian part of the corridor is a Caspian cluster that is established on the decree of the President of the Russian Federation, bringing together both ports and industrial zone called Lotus already active. In Port Economic Zone, we have two tenants. In Ola Port, anchor resident tenant is building a container terminal that will be the main hub for transporting cargoes along the north-south corridor. And the second resident is building a terminal for transshipment of oil and grain, cereals, and working on other projects now with participation of foreign investors. A development of cargo transshipment across Caspian requires development of the modern fleet. Caspian has a deficit of modern container carrier ships because well-known container projects require deeper a greater depth than the existing one of the respective canals. So last year, in line with the Russian project 00108 have been laid out. These ships will be having containers and carrying them with the 4.5 meters. That's the depth in line with our requirements. I'm only speaking about the ships that will be used to serve north-south corridor for cargo transshipment. We are, of course, building passenger fleet as well, but that's, I guess, not the topic of the discussion. The main water arteries connecting Volga and Caspian Sea is the Volga-Caspian canal, and state today is much better. If the depth used to be one of the limiting factors for the development of the corridor, today on the decree of the President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, and on the initiative of the governor, Mr. Babushkin, the depth has been increased to 4.5 meters. It was increased, limiting segments were overcome, so the canal is ready and is now taking the ships with the underwater depth of up to 4.5 meters. And for doing this reconstruction in 2 years, 2020 to 2023, 15 million cubic meter of soil was extracted from the bottom of the canal, which is an unprecedented amount within the modern Russian history. And today, the characteristics of the canal, 4.5 meter depth, are being kept, and we are quite confident that the cargo transshipment growth would continue. I would like to note that the important development of the corridor north-south and the strengthening of all-sided cooperation with our partners led to the fact that nowadays it's Russia-Iran trade that is mainly covering the capacity of the corridor. We are seeing the increase of the cargo turnover. The need of transit is there. The territory front to India, to Asian regions, to increase the cargo flows.
And the investors and the companies turn the interest to the logistics and regular organizing the transportation corridor for our region. We also open to cooperation, and all interested parties of what are in Volga. So our partners also, our government, Mr. Babushkin, also creates a working group to facilitate project Great Volga River Way, and all these projects united all Volga regions, and now we're developing the strategic plan with the new Compton to develop all the Volga region to connect them to Caspian Sea.
It was already said that's quite an important work that will go into the basis of the many federal projects. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Ilya Alexandrovich. Now the floor is given to Sergei Vasilievich Mayorov, the chairman of the board of the industrial cluster of the Republic of Tatarstan. And please, closer to the microphone. Mr. Gamazdan Muradovich, Dmitry Borisovich, participants of the event. You have calculated well that it's 30 million tons should be going along north-south, and Tatarstan can of course be a participant of this process because we are producing quite a lot here. The sales of the Republic, 4.5 trillion rubles worth of sales. We continue developing investments into the principal capital, over 1.5 trillion rubles, and the amount of cargo that we can be shipping can grow. And of course, the agreements we are having with 32 countries only in the industrial cluster where India and Iran are present, that would of course be promoting that. I'd like to dwell on the following. We would like to make a serious contribution, but that would not be possible without a year-round navigation. Over the course of last months, we had a number of meetings. What should be done first? Some are saying not enough cargo to be having year-round shipments, but there wouldn't be any cargo until we offer waterways with all the infrastructure to be there. We got to the understanding there. The same thing is true with locks, and people are saying that ships would not be going through our locks in winter. That's not something that has ever happened. We were having both Kama and Volga locks representatives, and it turned out that they're not really poor. We don't know, we don't see the amounts of necessary ports. We have looked at the experience. We see that in 1970 there were some segments, ice-breaking components that can organize a relatively inexpensive navigation. We looked at the experience, and until 2022, Finns in Leningradsky Oblast were using respective noses for Sametsky Canal. Of course, they left us after sanctions, but there are locks. Locks have been working in winter, so it means that that experience should be applied as well. So we looked at the units, and our shipyard can be doing that as well, because well, after they are better than an icebreaker, because after an icebreaker ice stays and it then gets stuck, whilst after such an artificial nose, ships can be using that route for 2-3 days. Ulyansky Oblast's invitation is welcome. We are grateful. We are joining them. The only company that has expressed their interest was Sviazhsky Multimodal Center, and together with the developers of respective artificial icebreaker noses, we are moving that way. As long as there would be year-round navigation, we will have cargo there, because, well, waterways are the most cheap way of transportation, and the volumes are great. Of course, you can be using both highway as well as rail, but if we could connect to this route with Volga and Kama year-round navigation, we would obviously contribute towards the increase of the shipments. I would like to thank you, and I would like to use the opportunity to invite you to the stands of the Republic of Tatarstan. We have 2 of them in pavilion number 3. Thank you. Thank you, Sergey Vasilievich. The floor is given to Mr. Daushev Artem Agdamovich, Deputy Head of Federal Phytosanitary Oversight Service. Well, it's important to know that the club is a strategic partner for Rossельхознадзор, and it's important to mention the fact that we've been having quite a fruitful work on Iran for a number of years. Thus, the contribution of Mr. Dausha will be quite important in the situation. Artem Adgamovich, please. Good afternoon. Could you please speak keep the microphone closer, and I request my presentation to be put on screen. Can we please have it? Okay, I'll start. Meanwhile, I will speak today about the amounts of products that we control passing as import or exports the borders. And I would dwell on the modern methods of control that help us to assure rapid border crossing and assuring the issues of safety and security of products that we are responsible for, agro-complex products. Well, on my right, I'm showing the countries where we are mainly exporting. That's Turkish Republic, Islamic Republic of Iran, Azerbaijan, India, other. Dry figures show us increase almost everywhere. Looking at the priority countries, those were countries on the first slide. That's at the moment would be that's from where we are increasing the import of veterinary oversight. That's mainly cattle, meat, and dairy products, fish. The same thing is true for export on the following slide, and we are seeing the increase in number of positions. For 2024, we are seeing significant increase. If we look at vegetable products, similar situation. We've been always exporting quite a lot into these countries. But the development of this corridor is adding new opportunities for exporting controllable products, just like in case of imports. Now, if we look at the specific border crossings that are mostly used on the right, Ярак, Казмаляр, Верхний Ларс, Бугаристы, Тагеркент, Казмаляр, Караузек. That's obviously where the both load as well as the flow of products is increasing. Controllable products. We are talking about both import and exports from the countries participating in the North-South corridor. This is, for example, related to imports. Fruit and vegetable top left, cereals on the right, top right, plantables down left, seed materials, 1,000 tons on the right. So it just was said. No obstacles existing for importing respective products into the country. We are simplifying the controlling procedures, of course, assuring that we are doing it in reliable quality. We are the next slide dedicated to digital transformation. We are using our mechanisms to assure we simplify our daily activities. Simplify performance of our business operators, producers, importers, exporters, logistics companies. All of that is directed at better control of all processes. And if you take a look, there are important blocks on veterinary oversight, separate block on phytosanitary now in the center, as well as a block on control over pesticides and agrochemicals on the right. I'm showing you there are figures on the slide. Let me tell you briefly that we are interacting, of course, with other both Russian, domestic, and international platforms, state services. You see the logo on the bottom right. We are using various analytical modules, AI models. This is, for example, the system of the first one, demonstrating components in veterinary oversight information system, IT landscape for veterinary oversight. We are demonstrating the main ones of them on the right and on the left, and demonstrating the number of various documents being generated on a daily basis in our systems. I would not be dwelling into details because this is publicly available data you can find either on the website or of ours, or on this presentation. This is the way it looks like: a construction of digital veterinary ecosystem, import on top of participants of the process, the gray bars, as well as export down below in red. So we are tracking everything from the field to the shelf, all the movements of the transactions of controllable goods and products are reflected in our information systems. And I'd like to add that all countries that are buying our products or suppliers, but mainly it's about talking about exports, the buyers of Russian produce, are acknowledging the high level of our digital services that allow them to be tracking online all necessary procedures and actions. And speaking about AI models, digital veterinary oversight, a year we are having 4.7 billion veterinary documents are being generated within Mercury certification system. All transactions, all movements across Russia of all controllable goods, you clearly can't track how well all those documents are generated, etc. No group of experts could be able to do that, so we created an AI that is tracking all suspectable transactions, and if necessary, a more detailed study, then of course it's being passed on to a human specialist, and then even some oversight measures can be implemented, done beginning last year at the legislative level as well.
So it's for sanitary oversight. So we have a special system to the Argus fetal laboratory, and they're developing their skills, their experience. They work with the other system, with the agricultural, with the Minister of Forestation and other government agencies. So the same is about using pesticides and other chemicals, because it's a very important issue. We have to keep it under control, what's going on in the agricultural fields, because in the long run it gets into the supermarkets and the tables of dinner tables. So we monitor it very closely, and you have to understand that this is a very big and complicated work, and it helps us to provide so-called organic food, which is very popular now in Russia. And in organic agriculture, you cannot use any kind of chemicals or pesticides, and we work very closely with agricultural business associations. We work with our colleagues from foreign countries about integration of our systems. Most actively, of course, we work with Belarus, with Kazakhstan, and if you look at Australia and New Zealand, for example, we started working with them a long time ago, but technically we continue to work with them in spite of the fact that we position them as not friendly countries. So we plan to continue working and develop cooperation with other countries, Arabic countries and countries of South Asia. As for our export operations, what we did last year, what we have and to what countries, what we can export. And you can see that there are a lot of countries who want to work with us. We can export a lot of different kind of products, and quite recently we signed a new protocol with China where we ship beef, and we sell other agricultural products, some vegetables, and all this export we organized from the companies which are included into our integrated database. We have all this database, all this information, and we use it very efficiently. We are very active participants of the club, north-south, and because we understand how important it is to develop this cooperation, how important it is to simplify the export-import operations, to decrease paperwork and bureaucratic pressure. But of course, we cannot sacrifice safety. We cannot ignore the safety issues, and we always keep it in mind, and this is our priority. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, you're a very reliable partner. But I would also like to say that when I was head of Dagestan Republic, we organized the export of mutton meat to Iran. And we understood that it takes about 15-17 days to organize this shipment. Iranians, they like fresh meat, not frozen meat from Australia, but fresh meat from the neighboring country. And fresh meat means 3 days. And at that time, we organized a project so-called Green Corridor. And I still remember that the Deputy Minister of Agriculture of Russian Federation, we together organized a delegation. We went to Iran. We signed special agreement with Iran. And we opened in Makhachkala a warehouse, and we started this work. But a little bit later, this green corridor was closed, and but it was very attractive, very good for Russia, very profitable for Russia and for Iran as well. The competitive advantage of this route, north-south, will be implemented if we can use, if we can simplify some bureaucratic procedures on this way. And I think that we can do it. I think that we can do it together with agricultural agencies. So let's just go to the government of Russian Federation with our proposals to restart this green corridor with the simplified bureaucratic procedures and less paperwork. Well, this green corridor actually now is just does not work. But the matter is that that's exactly what we are discussing with our Iranian colleagues, and we're also discussing the storage regulations. How long can we store the meat in different conditions? Well, we have special technologies when we increase the expiry date about 35 days when we organize a vacuum packaging of mutton. So we remember that. We keep working on this area. Well, with all due respect to mutton, and again, this is the whole issue of import-export operations of agriculture from Iran to Russia. And we can also organize exactly the same green corridors with India, with Azerbaijan, with whom we work very actively. Well, thank you very much. Now the floor is given to Konstantin Kutsenko, the representative of Russian Federation in Kyrgyzstan and Euro-Asia Business Association. Dear colleagues, dear guests, I'm very glad to agree to all of you here on this event. And Kyrgyzstan is becoming this logistic bridge, which is more and more interesting. And it's becoming more and more important business partner for our country. And quite recently, Dmitry, my colleague, visited Kyrgyzstan, where we discussed a number of different business directions, and we hope that we will successfully develop them. We were talking about the logistics corridor, which is connected with China, because Kyrgyzstan borders with China, which is one of our most promising and most prospective import directions. And now our company is starting building a logistics hub, logistics center, which will include different directions. We will provide necessary product certification in agriculture and in any other goods as well, which will be shipped along these lines. And when again we were visiting this hub, we discussed possible connections between neighboring regions in Russian Federation, and Issyk-Kul area, where we have railroad connection, and this railroad connection can become a backbone for this logistics direction to China and back. Kyrgyzstan itself is developing very actively. We have very, very successful trade exchange, and we increased our trade turnover more than 5%, which is and more than $2 billion trade with China and Uzbekistan. And we developed new routes with Iran, which is a very big logistics partner with us. So that is why we are completely open for any kind of cooperation. We are open to increase of trade, intensifying our friendly relationship, and the fact that North-South Club helps us to unite our efforts and to multiply our potential. And we are fully aware of the very, very promising future for this project, and so that is why, again, thank you very much for what you have been doing in this direction. Yeah, thank you very much, and the floor is given to Emin Karimov, the director of the department of the multimodular transportation from Azerbaijan. Good afternoon. I am Emil Kerim. I am director of the Department for Business Development Multimodal Company, and I would like to thank all of you for the invitation to this event. And I would also like to apologize that our general director unfortunately cannot be here, but I believe that I can deliver this presentation. I will brief you about the company. Our company belongs to Alliance Group. We are in Azerbaijan, and Alliance Logistics, this is our head company, and it's a private company which is an official agent for the Azerbaijan railroads, which was organized in 2018, and since that time it has been a leader of the railroad transportation in Azerbaijan, with a share in transit operations more than 50%. The company was organized as the main railroad operator in oil and gas for oil and gas industry, and later on in the April 2023 we made decision to organize a company which would be involved in the multimodal transportation to increase the potential of the communication with the neighboring countries. And we have our own assets, such as we have our own containers, our own automobile fleet, railroad car fleet. We have 4 ships on Caspian Sea, and we have 2 ships and 2 boats in Black Sea. And I also would like to say that our company now is has a cargo turnover more than 10 million tons. We have more than 400 clients, and we work with more than 50 countries all around the world. And I also would like to say that so far as we work on Caspian Sea in quite complicated route, and this is the east-west. And on this route, we have a very difficult transition point, and this is the Caspian Sea. And nowadays, we have to cross 2 seas, and sometimes 3 or 5 connections in different ports. But in spite of this difficult logistics, we are providing high quality service, and right now we organize delivery of more than 50,000 containers every year. As for the Antaka north-south, I would like to talk about our terminal in Astara. In Astara, it's a border between Azerbaijan and Iran. And right now, Astara has 3 terminals: the cargo terminal, grain terminal, which is operated by the GT company, and container terminal. So I would like to talk about container terminal because this is our main terminal. Container terminal occupies 35 hectares of land with a standard railroad, where the railroad is about 8.7 kilometers. And we are building one more terminal where we're planning to have liquid cargo for petrochemical products. And the container product is we are about to finish, and by the end of the year we plan to finish it. For the first 250 meters of the container storage area is built already, and it's already functioning, which allows us to increase the capacity of this terminal through Astara to one container train 24 hours in both directions. And the rest 500 meters we are planning to finish as well, which would allow us to increase the capacity of Astara terminal more than 3 times. And the railroad right now is not functioning to its full potential, but we know how to grow and where to grow. And I also would like to familiarize you with our port in Baku. It is one of the biggest ports in the Caucasus area, and this is port which is in Alet in Baku. And the terminals work not full capacity. We can diversify cargo traffic in this port and send them to Astara or Bendazali, because between Amirabad and Bendarabatam there is a direct railroad connection. And also we have to say that the capacity of this port is about 15 million tons a year, which is bigger than Astara right now. And also I would like to say that in our port we are building new infrastructure. We're building new multimodal terminal which will allow us to increase its capacity more than 2 times. And briefly, let me show you some statistics. And here you can see that the first quarter 2024, the growth is 8% as compared to the same period last year. And so when talking about Astara, here we can see the list of the goods which you have here, and Astara, and first of all agricultural products and timber, then food products, chemical products, ceramics, and others. So the next slide is our pride.
That was when we were working in Azerbaijan Railways. We had a pilot jointly with the Russian railroads and Finnish company Norman, and we created container shipments from Finland to Mumbai over the course of 25 days. But it's important to know that if a segment of a railroad, Astara to Resht, and we've discussed that with colleagues, it would have been completed, then the same transshipment, the same delivery could be done in 14 days, because the transportation would have been uninterrupted and there would be no platforms. And we know that on the side of Bandar Abbas, we are transporting our cargo on highways, through highways. And in conclusion, you see on slide that we have 3 routes through north-south route, and the first one is through Azerbaijan, second one is through Uzbekistan, third through Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, respectively in Chaburun, when entering in Janborun in Iran, and the fourth route is through Caspian from Astrakhan to Bandar Anzali. And I would like to state that here you can clearly see that the route through Azerbaijan, that goes through Azerbaijan, is quite a short route. In conclusion, I would like to demonstrate the advantages that can be brought by transiting through Azerbaijan. First of all, That route is almost 20% cheaper compared to Turkmenistan-Kazakhstan route. It is shorter because from one frontier to the other is 504 kilometers, so it's shorter. Plus, it assures multi-seasonality, because if you take a look at Caspian and alternative routes through Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, you are having mountainous regions, and you cannot always assure all-season connectivity. In this case, when if you're going through Azerbaijan, that can assure multi-seasonality without breaking in the shipments, pausing. Plus, you don't need to change documentation. You're having one single document accompanying the cargo from Moscow to Bandar Abbas. Thank you very much. That would be it. The floor is given to Mr. Bahram Seri, Director General of Eurasia, South Corridor Development Group. Sir, from Iran. Good afternoon. My name is Bahram Seri. I'm CEO of Eurasia Group from Iran. We are doing chain management and logistics. Mr. Moderator, dear participants of the meeting, I would be very grateful for taking part in this very important economic event. I am thankful to the leadership of the club that has allowed us to conduct this important meeting, and may I hope that this meeting will be promoting economic growth. Well, the important things that we need to mention is the importance of a north-south logistic corridor for integration with the Islamic world. As you know, logistics is one of the pillars of economy, and there can be no cargo movement without logistics. For the logistics, you need to take minimizing time, cost, and maximizing safety and convenience. For economic activities, be it in Russian Federation and Islamic world, there is a unique route that has all those three conditions, and that's a north-south corridor through Iran, going through Iran. Dear colleagues, you are well aware of the situation related to this corridor, especially our colleagues from Alliance. And the North-South Corridor is an economic project, the objective of which is simplifying these communications and increasing international trade. And the implementation of this project promotes simplification of this transportation and taking this into the newer level. The Russian Federation, Islamic Republic of Iran, and other countries on the corridor, Eurasia, and as a result, the Islamic world. Among other advantages of this interaction in the field of logistics, we can speak about the decrease of regional threats, improving the economic interest for all the countries. On top of that, there is a need for infrastructure that is assured by the government and private sector. The importance of North-South and integration of the countries of the Islamic world can have a positive influence, and this topic is of great importance to Russia and the countries of Central Asia are having great opportunities for provision of raw materials, energy, sources, food, halal food, and in this regard, they can interact with Islamic countries. That's promote import using the corridor, keeping in mind high speed of transportation and low cost that will be attractive for all countries. North-South corridor is assuring the movement of goods of different categories in large amounts, and the greatest amount of transshipment transportation in the region, foreseen over than 100 million tons a year, on the condition that countries of the region would assure necessary infrastructure, and of course that there would be greater attention to the challenges of the core, to the challenges necessary to make this corridor very active. Development of cooperation of Russian Federation and Islamic world countries is very important. No doubt the transportation of goods through the corridor north-south would assure safety and security of transshipment, promoting economic growth in Islamic world and Russia, as well as countries of Eurasia. On top of this, this is supporting strengthening of relations between the countries, development of international cooperation, as well as economic agreements between countries, assuring transporting of goods along north-south corridor, or having the following advantages: economic value as well as regional income. That would be not only taking the joining countries to an economic development level, but also promotes economic advantages, benefits for all of the region, keeping in mind all the studies that we have done for the corridor. Economic value of total goods for the region would amount to about $5 trillion, and that figure is having a great figure for cooperation of the countries, that is demonstrating the growth for the region. As a result, that will be assuring the benefits for all of the citizens in the region, creation of jobs. Launching and development of North-South corridor will create new jobs. It is foreseen that this corridor would allow us to create 2.5 million jobs, directly and indirectly, logistics services, and that would play an important role in creation of jobs in the region. Speaking about the continuing investment, this figure can increase further. Among others, it's important to note that issues of environmental development, sustainable development are important, and wise use of natural resources, lowering negative influence on the economy in the region, has special importance, is an important topic that we should pay attention to. Improving infrastructure, developing of green logistics, all of that bring to the balance and the economic development of the environment, and plus improving economic cooperation between Russia and the Islamic world. Today, at this 15th anniversary Russia Islamic World Kazan Forum 2024 taking place here in Kazan, Republic of Tatarstan, is another opportunity for interaction. On top of that, using this route will also help us to strengthen food security and all types of industrial sector that allows us using all resources for the economic benefit of the region. On top of that, creation of gas hub on the south of Iran, on top of the transporting goods, industrial products, as well as agricultural products, halal products that have been mentioned before. Another important moment that we need to account for. Plus, this corridor is important for transporting oil and gas products through a gas pipeline and oil pipelines. This is a strategic product that promotes integration for the countries of the region and participation of all the countries of the region and producers that by creating necessary centers would allow assuring uninterrupted transportation of energy resources. All components have been implemented at the moment. The group for the development of Eurasia South Corridor is ready for swap and transit shipments on top of natural gas extraction. There are other regions that Iran is interested in, and that assures economic development, assures economic extraction of resources, that allows strengthening economic relations. It's important to know that Eurasia South Corridor Development Group is a member of North-South Corridor Development Club and is making all the efforts necessary to develop necessary infrastructure, assuring the needs of meeting the needs of all the participants in this corridor. The group of the development of the Southern Corridor is interested in using various mechanisms, standards, and tools to assure offering different services. On top of that, we are working all around the world. We have 40 representative offices around the globe, and the company of ours is playing an important role in assuring logistics around the planet. On top of that, the company is meeting all the needs of all clients and consumers, and our company is stressing improvements in the use of warehouses and all related procedures along the North-South Corridor using advanced technologies ready to offer services to all interested parties. In conclusion, I'd like to state that this corridor is a wonderful example of regional interaction that leads to sustainable security and sustainable cooperation between the countries of all of the region. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Mr. Bahram. The floor is given to Ms. Aleftina Kirillova, who is an advisor to the General Director of RGD Logistics and the Director General of Eurasian Agrologistics NGO. Dear colleagues, Ramazan Gajimaradovich, hello, dear friends, welcoming you. I wanted to thank the leadership of the Integration Club North-South, as well as the leadership of the Republic of Tatarstan, for offering us a chance to be meeting and discussing at this very important platform. We are now regularly meeting here to discuss issues related to the development of North-South Corridor. I would be grateful to have a clicker. Thank you. I'm representing Russian railroads, logistics operator, key logistics operator of Russia, and Euro-Asian Economic Union, CIS. And you see respectively all logistics products that are being shaped and brought to the market by RGD Logistics is developed jointly with international transportation companies, communities, and the projects that are being developed by RGD Logistics are receiving support of Eurasian Economic Union. I would mention about those integration processes later. But first, briefly, RGD Logistics has built logistics ecosystem for all types of business, be it in industrial as well as agro-industrial. Over 4,000 clients and partners, 13 branches, and over 10 separate divisions, including in Eurasian Union CIS countries, and 24 million tons of cargo in 2023. North-South corridor is being actively developed by logistics in partnership with international partners. One of the key partners is North-South International Caspian Integration Club. has established this assuring consultation. We are jointly developing programs for the development of various projects. Multimodal routes of North-South are covering both Euro-Asian Economic Union CIS, as well as going further in a multimodal mode down to India. So up to 8,000 kilometers is the route. In 2022, Argida Logistics has increased the amount of cargo transshipment 7.5 times, using the infrastructure offered by the Islamic Republic of Iran. Both rail, water, and lorries, highways. A few days ago, you had a meeting with colleagues from Iranian companies, and we were discussing with them again the topic of how can we speed up the cargo shipment, especially those that are rapidly decaying in quality, to assure the quality of product reaching the consumer. 3 routes: the western one that does not have direct railroad connectivity, the territory of Iran railroad north, but down the terminal to Astara, owned by Azerbaijani party, the territory of Iran. We are launching Agro Express from Ulyanovsky Oblast, and colleagues yesterday, as part of the forum, had a number of meetings with participation of Russian railroads and participants in Iran, discussing large supplies, containers, water, whatever. Trans-Caspian route through ports of Astrakhan and Ola, as well as Makhachkala. We would like to thank Ramzan Muratovich for your support, as well as with the governors of the Republic of Dagestan and Astrakhan region. We had a number of events, joint meetings, discussions as part of the forum on the infrastructural services to the goods that are going through respective points locations, as well as eastern route that is now being studied and being developed by the logistics on a special decision of the Russian government, the route covering Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Iran, and then transit through Bandar Abbas to Jebel Ali, and then India, Indonesia, Malaysia, and other countries of the Southeast Asia. Along the eastern branch of that route, we are having regular container trains. The colleague from Rossellhotenadzor said that our corridor has become red. We hope that for Agro Express it would not be as red as for other types of cargoes, because we have agreed with the Iranian party on the supplying respective agro products, and jointly with Jihad al-Istiqlal State Corporation for food imports of Iran. As part of this agricultural jihad of Iran, we are about to sign an agreement. Jihad al-Istiqlal is joining a project, the Eurasian Agro Express, and this project is foreseeing a rapid delivery in both ways, as exports from Russia and Euro-Asian Economic Union, as well as imports from Iran to our Euro-Asian Union countries. In December of last year, Iran has signed a preferential trade agreement with Euro-Asian Trade Union that foresees over removing tariff duties, and from July 1st, the current year, Iran is to ratify this agreement. For us, in case when the trade duties would be removed, we could start increasing respective supplies. And this Agro Express that was launched with or by RZD Logistics jointly with Russian Export Center in 2019 and 2022 has received a Eurasian mandate. That project will be optimized with Iran and the territory of Iran. We are now planning construction and operation of 2 agro-logistic clusters, which would be receiving agro-industrial cargo, processing, consolidating, and then spreading throughout the countries of the region, UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, etc., etc. Diversity of cargo that the products that the countries of the Middle East are consuming. And as part of that project, rapid delivery, simplified customs corridor, and we are having respective agreements with Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Iran, etc., and Azerbaijan, etc., delivery of respective products with keeping the necessary logistic conditions for the perishable goods. It's very important for also another product that we are having, pharmaceutical product, important for India, which is an important product. Now these cold containers started moving along the eastern route. I have demonstrated the working figures that we are using. Trains for 4 trains a month, once a week, and we are transporting both industrial as well as agro-industrial and pharmaceuticals. At Sarakh border crossing, jointly with Turkmenia, additional services with Turkmen and Iranian colleagues. Those include both relocation of containers as well as change of the wheelbase for railroad, for the carriages going further along the rail of routes of Iran, as well as positions for metallurgy, for construction equipment, for steel concrete structures, cargoes that are difficult for transportation, etc. We are having a set of specialized carriages, RZD-owned fleet of respective wagons that are on the long-term lease. And we are seeing great interest of all the countries of the Middle East and the Central Asia to be receiving quality agro-industrial products, to be processing them, and the Eurasian Agro Express is offering all the opportunities. Feel free to be contacting us over email. There is Telegram channel, Telegram, WhatsApp, whatever. Thank you once again to Ramazan Gadjimuratovich for joint work. All colleagues present here also for the joint work and support of our projects. And RZD would have all cargo shipped. That's a representative of the leadership. One of the important specialists on the logistics matters. I would like Alevtina Grigorievna to be bringing her efforts jointly with the director of the club, who is also quite successful on respective questions, because your interaction would define the effectiveness of our club. In that sense, thank you very much for ongoing participation and joint work. Thank you very much. Our session is coming to an end. And this year it is more successful than last year. And after each such event, we would like to see very productive and intensive calendar year. And the questions that are of interest today, you as owners of various goods or the participants of the markets where respective markets where these cargoes should be delivered to, and here the club is an important aid there too. We've got representatives offices in India and Iran and Belarus. We call them anchor representative offices. We have launched today we have launched the working points that are part of the satellites, part of the North-South. We have Kyrgyzstan, very good work is there, Kazakhstan there as well. Very important serious work in Azerbaijan now, and throughout this year we managed to create and join strategic partners around the core of Russia-Iran-India interaction. The strategic partners key to the long-term success. Right now I'll be inviting you to join us at the signing procedure of two important agreements, and thanking you for today's work. Thank you very much.